Welcome back to JKMoto Podcast, a motorcycle podcast for the everyday rider, covering current bike and racing news and specializing in track days, club racing, and
great entertainment.
Great entertainment. We truly do it all. We are brought to you this week by JKMoto Entertainment, none other than the one behind us, which I think might be a little blown out. I don't know. I can't tell on the camera. But anyway, the sign back there, you guys know us. We are your one-stop shop for all your motorcycle track day, club racing questions and answers. Hit us up on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Click the follow, the subscribe, the like, I think it is on Facebook. Well, you can follow and or like on Facebook.
It's weird. It's like you hit like, it's like, and we're following. You're like, well, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Unless
I
it
don't
is.
know. Go like us. I don't think you can send us a friend request. We can't be friends, but you can like us.
Well, not with that attitude.
Shh. Anyway, yeah, if you're new to the show, I'm Easton. This is our co-host, Kelly.
That's me.
We're filming here in Stable B. If you haven't been to the YouTube channel, go check it out. You'll know all about Stable B after you spend a few minutes over there. It's pretty easy to figure out. This is where we film most of our stuff. But today, we are not here to talk about Stable B and or JKMoto Entertainment. We are, in fact, here to talk about MotoGP Round.
No, man, we're not counting it anymore.
Oh, you can
my
just
goodness.
cheat.
Italy, round Italy. That's what it says, round Italy.
It says round 9 somewhere. Round 9. Oh, it's on this screen.
See, I'm on the results screen.
You're on the wrong screen.
So I'm trying to get to the action.
On the wrong screen. Anyway, round 9, Italy, MotoGP. That's what we're going to talk about today. It was quite a weekend. We were doing a little bit of our own racing while they were racing over
that guy
on the big boy track. Yeah. We'll maybe touch on that a little bit, but we are here to cover some MotoGP. So that's what we're going to cover. So anyway, please stick around for after the intro for the rest of the episode. This will be about an hour to an hour and a half, so I'll just kind of give you guys that warning now. If you don't feel like you want to sit around and watch this on your computer or your phone, we completely understand. Down in the description is our link to our RSS feed, which will take you to whatever podcast platform you want to listen on, whether that is Amazon or Apple or Google or YouTube, or I think YouTube Music has podcasts.
Yeah, they got podcasts now.
Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those awesome platforms that you might listen on if you listen on any of the weird third-party ones. We're on there too, so go follow us over there also, or leave us a review on whatever platform you listen on, and stick around for the show. We're gonna roll an intro real quick, and then we'll get into MotoGP. My first track day, I got the pictures back, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. On the ground at 100 miles an hour.
Anyway.
And we're back. A little bit of, man, I wish, I think we'll start doing that. At the end of the episode, we'll bring in maybe here and there, the discussions that go on during the intro.
During the intro? I think you should. Some of them are pretty funny, I think.
Little post-episode fan club section, if you will.
Like a little bloopers reel, but not like a bloopers reel, yeah.
Yeah, because that's good stuff. It's good stuff. You guys miss out every time. You go watch this awesome intro that we have, and you miss out on the wonderful backstage.
What's going on instead of you ever drag your knee around the track at 100 miles an hour?
Yeah, that one. That's the one. That is the one. So anyway, we'll set the stage here. We are in Italy at Mugello, I think is how they say it.
Mugello? Mugello? I don't know. I'm not Italian.
It's definitely Mugello. But we're going to say Mugello for the rest of the night because it sounds funny, and I'm not Italian either, so...
There's like one Italian fan somewhere like...
Yeah. How dare you! Pirelli!
Hey, Italy puts out some good stuff, man. I'm about to try some Pirelli soon. I was watching Pirelli propaganda. I was like, maybe I'll transition from the Dunlop just to see what the hype is about.
You know... I've got a lot of friends that are very tied to Dunlop, so I can't say too many words here, but I can say that the tire combo that I was on this weekend felt good.
I watched a video of a guy explaining the difference between like Dunlop slicks and Pirelli slicks, And like they're both really good, and they're both like for different reasons depending on your riding style. And he goes into like which one has a stiffer carcass, which one will like flexes under load, which one like kind of spin up on you, which one kind of flexes you. And I was like, they're both like really good. Depends on how you ride it. So I think I might send you that video just like get your opinion on it as someone who can get more use out of the tires than obviously I can.
That'll be interesting. You know, so I've run Dunlop for a little bit. I never had any complaints about them. Especially after they swapped up to their newer...
yeah, because you've been running their slicks. I've been on the street tires.
Yeah. As far as street tires, it's kind of hit or miss. The thing that I like about Pirelli is they run the bigger aspect ratio, even on their street tires. Yep. Well, the sidewall, basically, height. Which, a taller sidewall, bigger aspect ratio. And we're just going to stop off on tires real quick for those of you that are listening. But
quick pit stop.
It gives you... From what I understand and from what I have felt personally on the bike, you feel more stable in corners. You have less turn-in ability, less flickability of the bike, if you will, and more stability in the corner. And since I am a person that struggles with speed at lean, I wanted something that, even if it wasn't actually there or wasn't actually different, to me, the number is there, so in my head, it is more stable. So if nothing less, I have the placebo effect of more stability mid-corner with that tire. But Pirelli runs a completely different size setup. One of the big reasons that I went to Pirelli for this round and decided to try it out was that their compound options are a lot fewer. And so they give you...
less to choose from?
Yeah. So they give you a chart that tells you like, hey, based off temperature and whether or not you're going for grip or longevity and whether or not your track surface is super rough or nice and smooth, here's where you want to be. Right? And it's basically almost a... Venn diagram, is that the circle things? Yeah, almost a Venn diagram of like the overlapping compounds and where they fall on there. And I think like for the front, you've got an SC1, 2, and 3. And for the rear, you've got an SC1, 2, 3, and SC0, which is a qualifying, okay. And then an SCX, which is also a qualifying.
Like super qualifying?
Yeah, like a super qualifying or something like that. I don't remember.
Extra sticky, extra grippy, extra achy.
Extra, yeah. X. But essentially, I was deciding between a 1, 2, and a 3, which is super easy. Like, you just look at your chart, and you're like, okay, these are the temperatures I'm expecting. And remember that, like, track temperature is important for that, but also remember, please, that your speed temperature is important for that.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a 120-degree track, but you're only riding...
40 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's not really the same as a person that is riding all out. So when they give you those track temps, that's based on them expecting you to be at a certain pace. So just keep that in mind. Some of us out there are not necessarily at that pace, and we can make different tire decisions based off of what pace we're actually at and what temperature we're going to have in the tires based on that. But they have less options. Dunlop had a huge range of options, and it was something I kind of struggled with because I'm like, well, where do I want to be? And instead of sitting down and figuring all that out, I was like, hey, you know, I've never tried a Pirelli slick. Let me go ahead and try it, see how I like it, and we'll move on. I was thinking about trying a Michelin too, but they are pricey.
Really? The Michelins are the expensive slicks?
Uh-huh.
For some reason, I thought Pirelli would be the expensive slicks and Dunlop's be slightly cheaper.
I thought so too.
But they're roughly comparable.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're no longer. Well, how do you feel about the Metzlers? Didn't have the right aspect ratio? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So the Metzlers are great. For a track day tire, they're awesome. And I would have ran them again. They didn't have the size that I wanted, and I'm not at the level yet. But I have heard of them running out of grip when you get to a certain speed. I think that's fake news.
Because they run those in Alaman TT, so they got to be good for it. Mm-hmm. That's a street circuit. You need as much grip as it can get.
Well, that's where they developed them from. The Metzler Track Day Slick is not the tire they run over there.
Got it.
They use the technology they learned over there to develop it. But they're a great tire. Yeah, I won't ever fault the Metzler. I did 2 full days at CMP on those before we went up there for the race weekend, and it was perfect. Also, the rear is bi-directional, which is great, especially at a right-hand heavy track. Unfortunately, the Pirellis are single direction.
So you can pop them off and flip them, run them back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's CMP.
Yeah, very important for some things. But anyway, we gotta get into. How did we even get on it? Pirelli?
Yeah.
I said the word Pirelli because some Italian got mad at me for saying Mugello. But anyway, we are in Mugello. Ducati is there, and there are a lot of Italian riders. There are several Italian riders on Ducatis. There is one key Italian rider who it should be his weekend. I would say that here in Mugello. It has been his weekend for the past however many years.
Yeah, consistently.
Uh-huh.
And he got a podium during the sprint. And like almost during the race.
Foreshadowing. That race,
I love that was a treat.
it was good. Yeah.
was a treat.
It's been a long
The
time
sprint
since I've
and
seen a
the
race
race was a
like
treat.
that. Yeah. And the action didn't really slow down.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing. It was one of the races you can actually sit down and just watch and not have a problem.
That's one of the races I'd like to introduce somebody new to MotoGP to. But hey, look at this.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, we're coming in. We'll go all the way back. I didn't watch free practice 1 or 2, but free practice 1.
That's because somebody else was doing free practice 1, free practice 2.
Yeah, I was a little busy practicing myself. So keep in mind, Pecco Bagnaia, we're going to talk a lot about him this weekend because, well, we're in Italy and it's his track, so, or should be his track. It's not anymore. But he has been a slow burner, always known as a slow burner, right? So FP1, we come in, he's down in 8th place. Okay, whatever. Top 5 is Bezzecchi, Acosta, Binder, Marquez, DG, and Antonio. Marquez being the Mark type. Then we get to practice. This is when it actually matters. Practice. You got Vinales, Bagnaia, Marquez, Quartararo. That's your top 5. All right, cool. KTM figured it out. But Bagnaia is literally like all of the top 4, even the top 5 actually the top 6, I guess. But anyway, all of those people are within 0.3 of each other. But like you're looking at a 144.63 for Vinales and a 144.74 for Bagnaia, and a 144.78 for Mark, and a 144.787 for Alex. So like they're all right there, right? Then we get into Q2, and yeah, the weekend started off right for someone with an all-time lap record, and that person was in fact not Italian.
Italian team.
Yes. Yes,
and that's what matters. And that's what matters.
That's important. That is important this weekend.
Italian team, Italian machine.
It is important to remember that a Ducati still had a great weekend. The Ducati.
Ducatis, plural. Even the not mainline Ducati team still were Ducatis in the podium both days.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the race was they had 3 flavors of the same Ducati.
That's true. Yeah, it was a like red, blue, and yellow, which those are basically the Italian colors.
Yeah. We'll just say it's green,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yellow, green, high-vis green.
Yeah, just ignore the blue, pretend it's white. But yeah, like Italy as a whole had a decent showing for the riders if you just ignore P1 and P2.
Yeah. Yep. Which is kind of just how the whole season's going.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we get to Q2, and Marquez takes. Once again, I wish I could have watched it because I don't know when it happened, but there's usually some good drama there. But Marquez takes an all-time lap record with a 144.169, with Bagnaia right behind him at a 144.228. So the hard part here is that we're talking about Bagnaia wanting to be the top dog. It's his home track. He's good there. Like it's not just that it's home track, not just that he's Italian and it's Italy. He's also very good there. Much like Mark and Aragon, he's got to do well because that's his spot. That's Italy for Bagnaia. He always does well there. He knows it. It's also Italians are like so because they have I feel like if there was a Spanish motorcycle brand or make, MotoGP would be so much different. Because when you have an Italian on an Italian bike in Italy, it's like, it's the Trinity, the holy Trinity of motorcycle racing right there. And Mugello is also like a Ducati-friendly track, which helps a lot because it is just so high speed. Yeah,
I love when they're coming down that main straight. They get on like the colored piece of pavement. They're all slipstreaming off of each other, and they all like come out, and it's like they're going like 3 deep into the corners. Like turn 1 is like, this is it. 200 plus miles an hour, just. Oh, man. They said like 250 kilometers. I did some quick maths in my phone to see what that was. Like you said, over 200 miles an hour. Just and then to hard brake into turn 1.
Hard brake.
And then to see who's going to outbrake someone else without going wide. Sometimes they went wide and sometimes they didn't. It's like, ooh.
Dude, I was impressed by everyone into turn 1 on Sunday, on race day. That was nuts.
You'd like watch Bagnaia. It's getting squirrely on Ducati coming in.
Yeah, well, they come up and their heads just freaking going wild because they got all the air coming in. The whole bike's shaking back and forth. They got a leg sticking out, but the amount of, like, it wasn't just Mark, it wasn't just Bagnaia, it wasn't just Alex that could do it. All three of them showed that they could come in there. I think even DG at one point showed that they can come in there, brake so late, and then still land that apex correctly, still land that turn so freaking tight. It was intense. It was awesome to watch. A lot of main straight showdowns going on out there. A little bit of passing afterward. I think we'll knock out the sprint first, then we'll get into the race where there was a lot of action. The sprint was still entertaining, but I feel like a little less action.
Only because it was shorter.
Yeah. I just feel like the sprint settled out a lot quicker.
Yeah, I agree.
So we ended up watching a sprint together in a hotel room. That was kind of fun. That was a fun time. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm getting a little bummed about this season because we keep talking about
your boy.
Round 1, round 2, round 3. It's like, all right, yeah, P1, P2. Okay, sign off.
Same as last.
Podcast is over. Like, what now?
That's it. We're done.
That's it.
Don't talk about DG Antonio or Franco Morbidelli, their performance for the sprint. Don't talk about how like Maverick Vinales came in P4 in that sprint. Not gonna lie, once again, he's been killing it when he finishes the race, obviously.
So Maverick is kind of figuring it out. Sunday let me down a little bit.
Well, he was doing good, but like somebody came up under him, tapped him, he slid out, and that was his race.
Yeah,
I think it was Morbidelli. He got his single long lap penalty that he had to serve as a double because
let's talk about both of those because. So Maverick was buying his time. He did really well all weekend. He qualified up in, I think, at 4th also for qualifying. Let me double check that before I quote something stupid. No, sorry, 5th, right behind the Yamaha. Unfortunately, Mugello is not a Yamaha track.
It's not.
It was when Rossi was there, maybe.
You just watch the Fabio Quartararo just there, and then he's like a position behind, and then another one, and then he settles out like 9. Back. It's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like, come on, man.
It was rough. It was a little rough. But
please,
the one bike that can kind of keep up is the KTM, and that's exactly what happened. Is Maverick Vinales? He had a good weekend, and like you said, finished 4th in the sprint. Cool. Sunday comes in, he's kind of buying his time, hanging out. He's back there behind Morbidelli, kind of fighting a little bit, and then they're like, switch camera pan, boom, let's watch these guys because they're actually getting into it. Made a solidly clean pass, if I remember right at the end of the straight. Same thing.
Oh, when he passed Morbidelli? Or
yeah. And
the crazy thing is that when he crashed out, it happened off screen. They're watching other battling up forward. You get yellow flag, like what's going on. Then you see like the rider number stack for the positions. You just see the names tumbling down. I think at some point you saw Binder early in the race, but then later, was it Binder that race? Or was that the sprint?
That was the sprint.
Yeah. But in the race, it was...
Pedro was out in the race.
Yeah, Pedro's on the race, but then also Vinales, and they have to like go back for the replay.
Yeah.
You like the next lap is like, you see him coming in, get a little tap, slides out, and that's it.
Yeah, it was, actually it wasn't Pedro in the race. It was just Vinales and the other guy that we'll talk about in a second.
Zarco?
No, we'll get there. Yeah, that move, unfortunately because it was a replay and there was a lot of other action going on, they weren't able to spend that much time on it. But like the pass that Morbidelli tried to throw, kind of. But at the same time, like you see Maverick get up and he's just like, he made some gestures like, I know what happened. Go look at it. That was not me. And then you watch it. Morbidelli came in way too hot, tried to make a pass where there wasn't room, and then,
2 bikes trying to occupy the same piece of tarmac,
and couldn't hold it. And
he held it.
But yeah, I guess Morbidelli held it, kind of. I mean, he couldn't hold his line because if he had held his line, Maverick wouldn't have.
I know what you mean.
So anyway, Maverick
he just took Vinales's.
Yeah, yeah. He just came in. He's like, no, I want your line. Like actually, yours.
Yeah.
So he kind of came out while Maverick was coming back in, took Maverick out. The best part, and not the best part, it was a little sad, but it was kind of funny. Race direction pretty quickly looks at it, sent him the message.
It's pretty clear. It's like,
long lap penalty.
You did it bad.
That was you. And he's like, okay, yeah, cool, whatever. Tries to serve the long lap penalty very soon after that. And I say tries because it's funny to me because when he did his long lap penalty, and they mentioned it, he lost 2.5 seconds. Like, he lost plenty of time. He lost positions. He lost 2.5 seconds. That is enough time to lose in a long lap penalty. However... There are rules to this game, and it's not just about the time you lose, it's about staying in the limits of the racetrack. Like sometimes if you go over track limits too many times,
you get the long lap.
You get a long lap penalty. So just like on the normal racetrack, there's limits there. However, the long lap penalty, for a reason that, like, I never thought about it before, but that little path on the racetrack is much thinner, and you can't overshoot it. So I always figured it was there to, like, oh, if you undershoot it, then, you know, obviously you're not taking the full distance. If you overshoot it, whatever, it's still the full distance. Nope, you got to stay in the green. So Morbidelli comes in a long lap. I don't know if he decided he was going to do it, like, way too late or whatever, but he did not brake in time. Came in super deep, couldn't get it turned, ended up out on the green, comes back out. Like we said, lost 2.5 seconds, lost a position or two, and then got a message right afterward. And the best part was, too, that Valentino Rossi was watching in the booth, and he's like, no, it's not going to work. He's sitting there, like, yelling about it, and then sure enough, message comes up.
Run it back.
Hey, do it again.
Another one.
Uno reverse, kid. Nice try.
Yeah, I think when he came back out near Acosta, too, on the second time.
Yeah, so the second time he managed to do it correctly, got his long lap done, but that was kind of just the end of the race for Morbidelli.
I'm curious what his race would have looked like if he didn't have that double long lap. Because he still got P6.
Yeah, I mean, he still did real good.
Granted, he was still 16 seconds behind, but I'm curious, would he have been in contention to continue battling at least near people further up, so he wouldn't have fallen far behind?
The weird one was DG.
Because you can pull somebody back if you're battling with them.
Yeah, no, 100%. The weird one for me was DG, because DG and Franco, jeez. DG and Franco were like were very close together for a good first portion of the race until
they were racing, clean pass on each other, but they were racing.
So and then we see DG in the end kind of come up almost out of nowhere, but he had an amazing late race pace, like amazing. And
because after he was doing the race with his teammate, he didn't get as much screen time until the end when he was catching up on Bagnaia.
Yeah, but I think he would have been kind of the deciding factor for Franco. You mentioned like what would his race have been like. I don't know. If he could have stayed with DG, then it could have been a way different race altogether. Yeah. At least that final position on the podium. But if DG really had that pace and Franco didn't, he would have just been back there.
Yeah.
So, man. Okay. Speaking of great late race pace, who in MotoGP would you say is or at least was for a while, known as the man for late race pace?
I hope you're not alluding to Bastianini.
Oh, I am.
I hope that's not who you're alluding. I'm getting tore up.
100%. Yeah, got a couple. Yeah, Bastianini.
Not this year.
Yeah,
no one's throwing those allegations around this year.
So earlier in this podcast, maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't, we mentioned that KTM figured it out. It's kind of a running joke we got now. Anytime KTM does anything that is even slightly good, they figured it out, because that's a classic. When you need something to talk about and you're a commentator of MotoGP, you find something, you're like, oh, well, KTM is doing a little better than last week. They must have figured it out. I am going to double down on what I've said about Bastianini.
More Bastianini slander?
And say that I do not think he is the quality rider we thought he was.
Let him figure out the bike. It's only round 8. We're not even halfway through the season yet.
Maverick's up there.
That's because KTM figured it out. We didn't say Bastianini figured it out. That's very different. That's very different.
So some bikes mesh better with riders than others. All of that jazz. I got it. Bastianini is just not.
Catch me at the end of the season. Give him another year.
Catch him at the end of the season not having a ride. Because that's the direction he's going. That's why I say that. I don't necessarily mean that guy sucks, but there's a point where it's like, hey,
whose factory Yamaha was it?
Ren's, yeah.
Where's he going next year?
I don't know yet.
Because they're keeping Corral, which means that's Top Rack seat.
No, Top Rack's supposed to go to Prima.
He's going to Pramac Yamaha. So is that Jack Miller? Mm-hmm. They're going to keep Jack Miller. They're going to keep the other guy.
That's a good question. Miguel Oliveira?
Yeah.
I don't know. Miguel Oliveira is also not. Like, he had.
And do you think Top Rack is going to stay with the satellite team, or do you think he's going to get bumped up to factory Yamaha?
Oh.
Depending on how well he meshes with the MotoGP bike, because he obviously is a good rider. We haven't seen him on a MotoGP bike yet, but that's the thing I've been wondering about.
There are a lot of questions around Top Rack. One big question is whether or not he's actually coming to MotoGP. MotoGP announced that, and then I believe both Yamaha and Top Rack were like, whoa, 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 this isn't official yet. Like MotoGP official said,
Yeah,
Top
I
Rack's
saw
coming to
that.
MotoGP.
I saw that as like
A week
saying,
later, I believe the other two, and a lot of this, like, you know, I'm not getting it necessarily from the source, but they were like, whoa, yes, but contracts haven't been written yet. We're just talking about it. So
don't tease me like that.
yeah, right. So that's where that's what they call it, the silly season, because it gets real silly for a little bit. And we are starting to get into it. And I hate to bring up the same thing that I bring up every week, but we are also looming the 2027.
2027
Which
regulation / engine change.
Apparently also has insert a BMW. Who's racing with BMW?
I haven't heard
right
anything
now?
about BMW recently.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said supposedly, because they said it. They were like, "Yep, 100%. We're coming. We're coming with the rule change 2027. We're going to be there." Okay. Nothing.
Crickets.
We got a year and a half. I got it. You don't have to announce it every weekend. The biggest thing we've seen from BMW recently is their new bike. That was just everyone thought it was going to be something super special.
You mean the concept bike?
Yeah, their new RR. That's different, but not.
Yeah, I believe it when I see it. I treat concept with a grain of salt because you get something usually very slightly different, very different, not at all.
Well, the funny part to me was like they masked this thing and it had this like slightly different shape but looked very similar. And when I was looking at it, I was like, oh no, that's electric. And then someone was like, no, it wouldn't have that big of a gas tank if it was electric. And I was like, well, the gas tank on a motorcycle is a whole lot more than just fuel. It's got, you know, the shape of it and all those things are very important for the way a modern sport bike is designed. Just because it's just an electric bike doesn't mean you're going to just delete that gas tank, right? Okay, delete that portion of the bike, the body part. And then they finally unveiled it and they're like, it's another RR. And it looks pretty much the same. And it's going to have a little more horsepower, maybe. And smaller wings, because you guys hated the giant wings, so we made them a little smaller.
Who's you guys hated the giant wings? People are loving that thing.
That's why all that's why all the memes of the wing, the freaking
Yeah. All the street Rossies love that thing. It makes them feel like they're MotoGP boys. That and the brake
those
lever
wings,
guards.
especially on like the RR, the S1000 RR, those wings got big.
Oh, the 2025 model?
Yeah.
Oh, they're massive.
They got big, and that's what like all those jokes.
One of our buddies like got one, and I see how big it is in person, and I still love it. But I'm like, I think of all the downforce you don't get on the street. Oh yes, 80 miles an hour. How much downforce you're really getting? And it's like, yeah, you could be going a lot faster than 80, but like, you're gonna hard brake then? Like you're doing that every day on the street?
Yeah, yeah, they got big. I don't know why.
They're a vibe, bro. They're a vibe.
Yeah.
I thought I liked the Ducati front wings on the V4S. Was it V4Ss or V4s?
V4Rs and S's.
But those BMW wings, man, they're a vibe.
If that's what you're into, I can't say much because I have wings on my bike. And
I don't think I personally would rock a wings on my bike just because like I know what they're for and I know that I'm not gonna be doing speeds like that on the street for my street bike. But like they look cool.
They do look cool.
Like when I see somebody, like when I see, this is probably not a really popular opinion, but when I see like, they're so popular, right? That people will buy a bike without wings.
And then put wings
on it. You know how many R6s you see around that people just buy aftermarket wings to throw on? It's like...
Yeah, that is true. Just like the...
brake lever guards.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I'm like, what is it with the only street riders? And they're like, oh, well, MotoGP has all this stuff, so we need to put it on our bikes. And then you get a like club racer or even a Moto America racer, and they're like, yeah, I don't know. It's just on there. We don't really care about it. So like, I think this year, finally, the factory Yamaha teams in Moto America finally added a little winglet.
Well, that's only because like...
R1Ms.
Oh, really? The R1Ms?
I think.
Really?
I think
I know they're bringing in 600. They started bringing the R9s. I know they come from factory with the little winglets on them.
Yeah, the R9 for sure, and those don't look bad. You know, so I saw
there's one at the track this week.
Yeah, I saw it up close.
There's a couple actually at the track. There's like a blue one, and there was a blue one, and then there was the red and white one.
Red and white one. Yeah, the blue one I went and I talked to the guy a little bit about it. Up next to that thing, it was way wider than I thought it was going to be.
Yes, when I saw that, I got an up close look at the red and white one, and it was wider than I expected like something between an R7 and R1, obviously, ha ha. But when you see it's like, oh, that's actually bigger than I thought it'd be.
It almost looks bigger than the R1.
Yeah.
Like just the way I think honestly,
it looked bigger than that one.
Yeah. So and we're getting so off topic here, but at a distance, I think if you put a double bubble windshield on it, that would help out a lot.
Yeah.
Having this like line right here that goes up helps bikes look speedier.
I do think that's one of like the first mods that people both street and track will do, like a double bubble windshield.
Yeah, 100% worth it.
And like I thought it was all hype till I got one even on street. I noticed for street riding it made a difference. I was like, wait a minute. Then I got one for the track bike.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is cool.
They are 100% worth it. But anyway, we're getting off topic. We gotta get back to MotoGP.
Oh yeah.
We keep doing it. It's good. It's a podcast for a reason. But anyway, that's Bastianini. I won't talk about him too much more, but teehee. That's my thoughts. So we gotta just kind of cover the race. I had a question for you. I was curious to get your thoughts on it. Do you think there is any hold on the Alex Marquez front to keep Marc Marquez in the front?
What do you mean?
Do you think that there's anything either in Alex's brain just by himself or that they have said to each other where Mark's like, hey, I need to win, or Alex is like, he deserves the win, or he's my older brother, or
No.
I've never beat him?
Absolutely
not. Okay. I am not of that opinion either, but I have been starting to wonder if other people are thinking that.
Absolutely not.
I have seen, and I'll back up my opinion, which is that is not happening, because I have seen enough times where Alex gives it his best shot. I do think that Mark is just that tiny bit better most of the time. I think sometimes, honestly, maybe not. But I think most of the time he is. Anyway, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm glad we agree on that. But the sprint, the race, we had a P1 and P2, the red and the blue, like we're used to. The difference, I think, was that in the race, dude, that race...
I'm going to boost Boholo as soon as I can, and I'm just going to act surprised if it has to go well. It has to.
Yeah.
Please go well. I need the points. It's going to be a
bad weekend. Oh, it'll be interesting. Well, because...
Pecco's going to... I'll boost them both. Pecco will figure it out.
That's probably what will happen. Yeah, that's probably what will happen. Oh, you reminded me. We forgot to do fantasy. We'll get there in a second. All right, hey, we're back. Sorry, technical difficulty. Again, apparently it's hot here in South Carolina. I feel like this is gonna be a weekly occurrence. We're gonna have to just like pump this place full of cold air.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's all right. Summer's almost over.
Yeah. The bad part's not even here yet.
Yeah, we're not even.
Right. We got past Quartararo being alive. We got past the Bastianini slander. Got past Morbidelli's unofficial double long lap penalty.
Yep.
Zarco crashed out.
Yep.
That happened.
I don't even think Joan Mir was riding. I think he had Takanakagami in there for him.
Yeah, he was up in there.
No,
Joan Mir
was riding.
He got P12.
Yeah, he was
Aldeguer back of the grid. Ducati inflation not inflated enough, apparently.
Yeah, so that one was a little weird to me. Aldeguer did not have a good weekend. It kind of made me mad because he was on my fantasy team. But also, like, I put him on my fantasy for a reason. He was doing pretty good.
I mean, he's still a rookie, so it makes sense he'll have some on and off seasons.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was just like a Mugello thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry, a Mugello thing. Because maybe that's just a hard track. I have always wanted to ride Mugello, but also, like, I don't want to ride Mugello till I know I can ride, if that makes sense. Like, I think of all the tracks in the world to be afraid of.
You got to make sure you're good for it before you send it on that.
Yeah. Well, and like, I mean, it's one thing to power down a straight. It's another thing to power down the straight and then actually brake when you're supposed to, and then not. Yeah, like, just don't get me wrong. Like, I'll come in pretty heavy on some brakes, and I'll go down a straight. But when it's a long straight, and you know it,
and you're building up that speed.
Yeah, like. Oh man, it's so easy to brake early.
Quarter mile straight, half mile straight, not the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
3/4 mile straight, mile straight.
Mugello straight.
How long is that straight?
I don't know. I'm gonna look that up. I don't know how long that is, but
you're gonna find it in kilometers. You're like, what am I gonna do with this?
How long is Mugello straight? That's really funny. I typed that in, and Google says, "Are you sure you don't want to know how much yoke should stick out of transmission?" Nope.
That's very different.
It's a 3/4 mile. .709 miles straight.
Yeah, get some speed up there.
That's a big straight. But anyway, hey, while we're here, talk about fantasy teams, we do need to talk about our weekly fantasy winner.
We don't do it at the front. We got a little off topic today.
We did, which, let's see, it was not you.
I think everybody knows it's not me. I said at this point, I don't even think the boost would help, to be honest.
It was also not me, although I was pretty close. It was, in fact, our boy in third place. If you're not following along the fantasy team, make sure you follow along. There's a link down in the description. It'll take you to our fantasy league.
179, JKMoto, there it is.
Code, yep. And our boy in third place, JKMoto, came in this week as our weekly winner at 179.5 points. Keeping him right in third. He's still a little bit behind that guy in second, Cam Head. JKMoto's got 1519, and Cam Head's got 1599.5 points total. So the point gaps are pretty big. It's getting a little... I mean, we've got over half the season left, so anything could happen at this point. But anyway, JKMoto, make sure you reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, whichever one. Send us a DM, and we'll send you your weekly point-winning prize over. For the rest of y'all, if you got boosts left, maybe it's time to start using them. Hit the Kelly strategy of running a double boost on Alex and Mark at the same weekend. I don't know. Might not be a bad idea. I don't know if you can run a double boost.
I don't think so.
But
I think you get one at a time. So I think I tried to run a double boost them, and it was like, you get to pick the one. It kept shifting, and I was like, no, I want them on both.
Both points. Oh, man. I mean, there
was a good weekend.
There is a clear person to boost this season.
Yeah.
Even in his bad weekends, still doing pretty good.
He still put some points up.
Yeah. So anyway, with it getting hot and late, we are going to keep this episode a little shorter. I think we kind of covered pretty much. The only other thing I was going to talk about really was just how good of a race it was on Sunday. Not just the battles. Like Bagnaia came out to fight, because on Saturday, Mark won. He comes in and they're handing him like either his hat or they're talking to him or whatever, and you just hear in the background the crowd is just booing.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday, sprint day. They are just booing so loud, so bad. It was horrible.
You saw, what did the team manager's name talk about that? He's like, he's wearing red.
Yeah, Davide Tardozzi. He was out there telling the crowd like, hey, freaking stop. He's on your team. Yeah. Like, it's a red Ducati. Like, you still won, but they just hate him for whatever reason.
The craziest thing is like he could be on another team winning, not in red, and then you'd feel even worse.
Yeah.
But he's on the Italian bike in the Italian colors on the factory team.
Yeah.
Some fans are just ungrateful, man.
Well,
I guess they had it in their head they wanted Pecco to win, and then he didn't even get on the podium. He got on the podium for the sprint, but not the race.
Yeah, the race.
But an Italian did get on the podium.
Yeah, DG took that fair and square, you know. So. But Pecco did come out to fight on Sunday, in the beginning.
He did.
He lost it somewhere in there, and I think...
Watching him and both Marquez's go back-to-back, corner for corner,
yeah,
that was exciting.
Just over and over again, and then dude, it was under,
and then the two people make a mistake, and that third guy is like, now's my chance, and now the two people are like, gotta lock in, get them back.
Yeah, dude, it was some great racing. If you haven't seen the race yet, we just kind of spoiled everything for you, but it was a great race. Definitely go check it out. But I was feeling for Bagnaia near the end of the race.
When DG was creeping up on him?
When DG was coming up for a couple of reasons. Because there's a lot that goes...
How that felt with the pit board timings? Like, it's just...
Yeah, that, and I was just thinking about the fact that, like, one, at the end of a race, you're tired anyway. If you're not, like, winning and you're not fighting, you gotta, like... I can't imagine what it's like to keep your momentum.
Yeah, like 20-odd laps.
Yeah.
Like 23 laps of the race.
Keep your adrenaline up, keep everything going, keep your momentum going when, like, I'm not winning anymore, right? And especially in Bagnaia's case, where he's had a pretty reasonable season, really. It hasn't been that bad. But his chances of taking the championship and being a world champion again are...
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's saying he's not doing so good, he's doing a bad season, but it's like, he's been consistently on the podium or fourth place.
Yeah.
Any team would kill to have that.
Yeah.
And he's like a former two-time world champion, so it's like, he's used to P1s most of the time, and then we can't get that, he's on the podium. Not, I'm fighting for the podium, and if I can't get them, just below the podium. And that's just the power dynamic shift since Marc Marquez has come to the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane when you look at the numbers. It is nuts. But
any other team on the grid could have that. They'd be like, yes,
yeah,
we'll trade both our riders for one rider that could do that.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I was just imagining the end of the race, thinking like, one, he's already down on himself. He's already like sad. It's also the end of the race, and then you just have DG coming up and just
he's hungry.
Like, how do you keep yourself in the game? Like, what all is going through your head at that point when you're like, there's no chance of me winning this. There's no chance of me taking second. There's basically no chance of me getting the championship, which I'm not saying there isn't, because realistically in MotoGP, anything can happen. Marquez could go out with an injury during some random practice round, or Alex, or both of them could both wreck each other out and go nuts, and then Bagnaia has it in the bag. Like, anything could happen, so there's no point in ever giving up. But at the same time, when you look at the numbers, you look at statistics,
he's falling further and further behind, because it'd be more competitive or like close if Marquez and Alex, if both Marquezes, Mark and Alex, weren't consistently getting the 1 and the 2. If they won't consistently get the 1 and the 2, and then Bagnaia occasionally getting the 3 or not the 3, the points gap is just growing and growing and growing. So unless something big happens, he's locking in third at this point.
Yeah.
Even this early on, just the way the performances have been. Like you said, barring like a wreck or an injury, something big.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you keep yourself going in a race?
Barring KTM figuring it out.
That, yeah. Barring KTM figuring it out. Anyway, like I said, we've got some hot weather, so we're going to cut this a little short. We do still need to cover our rider of the weekend debate.
All right, my first, not my main rider, but keep an eye on Iagora. He didn't qualify so high, was way back, finishing the points and got P10. And then, KTM obviously figured it out, came out to show this weekend better. But my rider is going to be DG, made it to the podium. You don't always see them up there. You've seen Flora yellow or high vis yellow or green, whatever, a couple times up there this year, but I was just happy DG was still hungry till the end.
I'll give you that one.
You saw him eat up Pecco toward the end of sucks to suck Pecco, but I mean.
Yeah, so DG ran a great race, keep himself one, let's see where he qualified, I think probably down in 6th.
Yeah.
No, 7th, behind Franco Morbidelli. Yeah, so in the race, keeping himself far enough up that he could get up and take that podium. That's a big skill right there, one thing, right? And then, his late race pace, being able to come in. And he also, I believe, had the fastest lap of the race on Sunday and held that record, pretty sure. So, yeah, I'll give you that.
Plenty of options to choose from, but that's my final answer.
I don't remember who I chose last week, and I hope I'm not repeating. I'm just going to say I'm a fan for a reason, and I have to go with my boy. And I think I did that last weekend also. The reason being that this man comes in to Italy where he's never been that great, doesn't do the best in FP1 or practice, lays down a hot lap in qualifying, takes an all-time lap record.
Arguably the hottest lap.
Yep. Comes into the sprint, takes the sprint, not just because he's that good, because I don't know if you remember, we forgot to talk about that drama. The sprint start, Marquez forgot to engage his launch controller.
He was playing with the controls
there.
And then he fell back. He fell back. It's like almost 7.
It was
something I thought it was P4 at some point. But if you look at the overhead shot, because everybody's like going in for the turn, he's still like not up there yet. But he got it back though.
Yep, and he did his classic Mark moves, made it back mostly pretty quickly, but also, once you get to the top, you got to fight those big guys, and he was there, and he is the big guy, if you will, but. And then Sunday, on Sunday, Bagnaia came out to play. Alex Marquez was out there to play, and Mark had to actually battle. Had a way better start, but there was a lot of battling going on, and so I just got to give him props for it. I think he had a great weekend.
Reminds me of that. Was that last year when he tear off from the visor and the back wheel spun it up, just fell back. Everybody went up, couldn't get the traction down, and then he still won that race.
Yeah,
iconic.
Yeah, I don't think he won that one. I think he took second. But yeah.
That doesn't fit my narrative. I think he won that one, all joking aside, but I'll double check.
Yeah, I'll have to look we'll have to look that one up because I don't remember for sure, but I don't know. It's hard for me to give it to anyone else this weekend. DG did some great stuff. Vinales had a pretty good weekend, minus the crash. Everyone else, Bezzecchi, kind of weirdly out of nowhere. Yeah, finished in 5th in the race, 6th in the sprint. qualified.
Someone's got to hold it down for Aprilia.
Qualified down in 10th. So, you know, coming up 4 places in the sprint and 5 places in the race. I keep forgetting that Bezzecchi exists. I honestly think it's partially just because of the colors of the bike. Like it's just all black.
Yeah.
It's just this like kind of ghost
like
floating in the background.
Purple. Yeah.
Yeah, because like they don't have any bright colors. His suit isn't like, he doesn't have his own like, oh well, I wear green or I wear red or anything like that. His numbers also aren't like, they all blend in. It's so like sleek that I literally forget that it's there. And also because he hasn't been a super top performer yet this year. He hasn't really been like the big name, but he's been doing better. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's going to do anything crazy this year, but I could see him pulling out an Aprilia win on some weird weekend where something happens.
Doesn't he have a win?
Not on Aprilia.
It was like a sprint win or something, or he's on podium at least.
Yeah, he's won on the Ducati a couple years ago.
No.
This year?
This year.
He definitely hasn't won. I don't think anything other than...
Yeah, UK round, Silverstone. He won the race.
Did he win in Silverstone? Oh.
I'm not gonna let you gaslight me. Like, I know he won.
Oh.
Yeah, put some respect on his name.
Oh.
Yeah, where's your boy on that race? Just...
When...
That's UK, that was Silverstone.
That's this year?
Yeah.
Where was I?
Like 2 rounds ago.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we did. Go back and watch your episodes.
Yeah, he did win that. That was that rain. No.
No. The Rain Zarco one.
Yeah.
And that was in France.
How am I losing it that bad? Huh.
Bezzecchi, Zarco, Marquez, Morbidelli, Marquez.
There was something
Alex.
weird that weekend. All right. My bad. Bezzecchi won a race on an Aprilia. Okay. Oh, man, I'm so thrown. I got to quit. We got to quit here.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to go ahead and end the show.
I think you were working nights that week.
Probably. That does happen. Yeah, when I'm working the night shift, the brain goes wild. But yeah, man, Mugello, great track, wonderful to watch. The race was a wonderful race. We'll probably have a surprise episode coming in over the next couple weeks, just covering some of the action up at CMP that you heard us kind of maybe talk about a little bit, but not a whole lot. But I think it's worth talking about, so we'll probably do a surprise episode. So be on the lookout for that. Beyond that, we appreciate you guys listening and or watching. Once again, make sure you click the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, go check it out real quick. Go throw a subscribe over there and leave some reviews on whatever platform you're listening on. And go follow us on Instagram. Just a little bit of extra stories that happen on Instagram and other stuff like that. And we're going to start putting our Rider of the Week up for a vote on the Instagram. So throw in your vote for, out of the 2, which one you think is the best. Or if you have someone else, you can always comment that also. But I think that's all we got. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you all in the next episode. Cool.
You like, he might get a win for Aprilia. I'm like, bro, he has a win for Aprilia. Dude, bro, what are you talking about, bro?
I did not remember. Have you ever drug your knee on the ground at 100 miles an hour?
I just hear coming into turn 1, everybody going hot, downshift, downshift, downshift. Especially that was R7 or R1 last weekend. It was R7. It was obnoxious. I was like, damn.
That's what yours sounds like.
Yeah.
Dude, look at that tire.
Which one? That one or that one or that one? All of them are well used.
That one.
Done right there. You gonna take this bad boy back to the track anytime soon or what?
That tire? No.
Cooked. Certified cooked.
The right-hand side of that, I'll show you in a second.
Oh, yeah, well done. Yeah, because it's all of those, like, right-hand sweepers.
Yeah.
You get, like, the left-hand turn of, like, I think that's 4. And then you get that hairpin that's 11. Mm-hmm. Everything else is a right-hand turn, either sharp right-hand or a sweeping right-hand.
Or long turn, yep. Yeah, and a lot of them are, like, you're on the gas, leaned over, right-handed.
Yeah. Your tire is like, I want all the grip you can give me. I watched a I don't want to blow through too much time, but I watched an onboard lap with CMP, and I was watching the speeds they were holding, and I would always hesitate adding any kind of throttle lean angle. And I watched a vid. Understand there's an amount you can add, but then I watched a vid, and it was like, no, you can add a lot more than I'm adding.
You can add more, yeah.
I was coming out of like a sweeping right hand at 70. They were doing it at 100. I was like, that's where my time's at. It's right there. I need a bigger pair.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's always eye-opening watching like someone's onboard and telemetry is like, yeah, that's right. The bike's good for it. I just need to be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's all right. It takes time.
And that was just a 140. It was a guy chasing a 145, and he got like a 147. And I'm like, wow, if only I knew a guy that could reliably do that, no problem.